Welcome back to CIA Declassified. We've stepped out of the frozen forest of Lithuania and into the volatile streets of 1960s America. By 1968, the agency faced a domestic crisis. Civil unrest was peaking, and the traditional methods of crowd control, tear gas and batons, were causing public relations nightmares. They needed something invisible, something undeniable. They turned to the science of acoustics. Specifically, they looked for a frequency that could bypass the mind and speak directly to the internal organs. This was the birth of the sonic sickness weapon. The goal was compliance through biological embarrassment. The project utilized infrasound, sound waves below the threshold of human hearing, typically under 20 hertz. At these frequencies, the waves don't just travel through the air, they resonate with the physical mass of the human body. A quote from a 1969 Advanced Research Projects Agency memorandum. Acoustic energy at approximately 7 hertz matches the resonant frequency of the human visceral cavity. Prolonged exposure at high decibels induces significant gastrointestinal distress and involuntary muscular release. End quote. The Brown Note trials involved mounting massive high-output transducers on the back of flatbed trucks. These were tested at isolated proving grounds in Nevada, where researchers tracked the transit time of waste through test subjects exposed at varying hertz levels. A quote from the Project Manifest list. Subject 42 showed signs of extreme nausea within 90 seconds of activation. Complete loss of sphincter control occurred at the 120-second mark. Subject was unable to remain upright. End quote. Declassified technical logs show the agency developed sound cannons that used compressed air to fire slugs of low-frequency vibration at specific individuals in a crowd rather than broadcasting to the whole street. A quote from a 1970 medical evaluation by the Office of Strategic Research. The psychological impact of public fecal incontinence as a deterrent cannot be overstated. It effectively neutralizes the dignity of the protest movement. End quote. Records show that the French researcher Vladimir Gavreau, Gavreau, was a primary influence on the project after he accidentally discovered that a large, poorly balanced ventilating fan in his laboratory caused him and his assistant to feel intense nausea and internal organ vibration. A quote from a 1968 Acoustic Weaponry Symposium. The weaponization of the environment through mechanical resonance provides a tactical advantage by transforming the air itself into a medium of physiological denial. End quote. Files detail the use of acoustic mirrors, which were parabolic concrete structures designed to focus the 7 hertz wave into a beam that could penetrate brick and mortar at a distance of 500 yards. The agency documented secondary ocular distortion, a side effect where the low-frequency waves would vibrate the fluid in the human eyeball, causing blurred vision and ghost-like gray spots in the subject's peripheral field. A quote from a 1971 Technical Status Update. Operational deployment remains limited by the lack of directional precision. Until we can isolate the operator from the output, the risk of self-exposure remains at 40%, end quote. The declassified files confirm that the CIA shared this data with the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense under the Shoreline Agreement for potential use during maritime boarding operations. While the Brown Note is often treated as an urban legend, the declassified files contain a section so blacked out it's practically a void. The ink storm falls heaviest on a document titled Resonance Fatality Audit, Over 1,400 pages of the 1972 internal vibration study are completely redacted. Why is the organ failure data still the agency's most guarded secret? Get ready for the theory of the public purge. Speculation suggests the sonic sickness was tested on anti-war protesters in D.C. The theory claims the redactions hide the crowd control stats from 1969, alleging the agency successfully cleared 3 city blocks by turning the air into a biological weapon, and the black bars hide the names of the cleanup crews who had to deal with the aftermath. What if it's still being used? A dark rumor suggests the sonic beam is hidden in plain sight inside modern cell towers. This theory claims the redactions in the grid integration files hide the fact that the government can trigger mass nausea and diarrhea in any major city at the push of a button, and the black bars mask the frequency schedules. There is a whisper among archival researchers that the blacked out molecular breakdown section actually details how the sonic beam was used to cause the stomach lining to dissolve in real time, effectively digesting the target's internal organs from the outside in. Theorists looking at the 1,400 redacted pages of the resonance logs argue the agency successfully modified city water pipes to act as massive organ pipes, turning entire apartment buildings into brown note chambers. Some claim the black bars in the neurological overlay files hide a secondary project that used the sonic sickness frequency to carry subliminal auditory commands that the brain processed as its own internal thoughts. Looking at the geological feedback redactions, some argue the CIA found that the 7 Hz frequency could be used to induce localized tremors, and the black bars hide the maps of man-made mini-quakes used to disperse crowds. Lastly, some suggest that the long-term latency redactions are actually the result of a frequency that has been permanently altered, the gut bacteria of everyone who was previously exposed, creating a biological signature that the agency can now track from space. Was the sonic sickness weapon a success? Tactically, it was a disturbing success. The agency proved they could incapacitate a human being without leaving a mark. The Immediate-Diarrhea shows a 95% success rate in laboratory settings. Strategically, it was a liability. The weapon was too dirty. The risk of affecting friendly forces and the sheer logistical nightmares of the cleanup made it impractical for standard police work. By 1974, the emitters were moved to long-term storage. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs go, the frequency of filth left a permanent stain on non-lethal weaponry, such as focused infrasound, the foundation for modern long-range acoustic devices used for maritime defense today. Resonance mapping, a complete map of the biological frequencies for every major human organ. Atmospheric waveguides, breakthroughs in how sound travels through urban canyons to maximize coverage. And biological shielding, the development of the first wearable sonic dampeners to protect sensitive equipment and personnel. The sonic sickness shows us that the agency views the human body as just another machine to be manipulated. As the files reveal, the air around you isn't just empty space, it's a conductor for the gurgle. Thanks for listening, and join us next time as we examine Project Colton. In the early 1950s, the agency decided to fight the Cold War with ink and speech bubbles. Project Colton was the classified study on using comic books for psychological warfare. We'll uncover the hero templates, the subliminal script manifest, and the moment the agency realized that the best way to win a war is to control the imagination of the next generation. Join us next time for the illustrated agenda. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.